Hey, it is BS Friday.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Doing great. So, look at the man in the middle, Mark. We have the one, the only Matt Daigle from Rise. How cool is this today?
I say the future's so bright. We've got Matt from Rise. I had to wear shades.
Hey, when you're cool, the sun shines 24 hours a day, my friend. I love it. I love it.
Love it. Welcome, Matt. Say hello to everyone.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. This is a blast. Love what you guys are doing. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. We know you are a busy person. You have a lot going on. Your website's one of the coolest websites out there that I've seen, and I mean it supports everything from healthy living, sustainable homes, passive homes, offsite construction, everything that Mark, Wille, and I are passionate about.
Awesome. Love it.
He's also got a magic word that we'll get to later that starts with a B, Dave.
What could that be? You got to understand, Matt. You know, Mark, he does this to just about every show. He likes, he likes to throw out these innuendos, if that's what they are, and you got to sit there and go, "Did we talk about something?
No,
Did I miss something?"
Keep them in suspense. Keep them in suspense. I mean, we're BSing, right? So we can't lay it all on the line in the beginning.
No, we cannot. We cannot, and I love it. BS Friday, Mark. Tell us what BS stands for, if you don't mind.
Bologna sandwich, everyone. It's Friday. I hope you packed a lunch because we're full of building science.
I love it. I love it. So, Matt, I think the best way to start today's episode would be to hear a little bit about your background and your story. And I have a banner just for it. And I'm going to switch the banner because I think Matt deserves some color in his life. What do you think?
Let's make it green. Oh,
all right, Matt. Listen, tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, what you're doing, and take us through the scenarios.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks again for having me, guys. Yeah, a little bit about me and how I got started on my journey. So my name's Matt Daigle, and I'm from a little place called Fredericton, New Brunswick. We're on the east coast of Canada. And a few years back, my wife and I, we bought our first home together, and it was a fixer-upper of a house, as you can imagine, as many homeowners embark on that journey. Nowadays, and our journey was probably no different than a lot of homeowners, where we were just trying to renovate it in time to move in to welcome our first kid to the world. And anyway, we did it. We renovated for about 6 or 7 months. We moved in April of 2014, and just a month later, we welcomed our first daughter to the world. And so for me, that kind of ignited a few things. One is that like our values kind of started to change. We were no longer a family of two; we were a family of three, and now I've got to worry about this house that we just renovated. Really, probably didn't think through a lot of things that I probably should have thought through. Anything from the paint that's going on the walls to the efficiency of the home. I then also happened to pick up my first power bill after this renovation, and obviously the house looked aesthetically pleasing. By the way, my wife, she's an interior designer by trade. Anyway, I picked up my first power bill, and it looked identical to the power bill before the renovation. And so for all intensive purposes, I considered the renovation a bit of a fail. Even the paint that we put on the walls. Now I've got a daughter. Is that off-gassing? Is that dangerous for her? So I've got all these new values, these new questions, and I didn't get a lot of answers. Talked to my contractor, didn't get much there. And then I went online, and my background is in technology. Anyway, I went online and just I found forums and a lot of. I realized there had to, there's a lot of research that goes into having a home that is more sustainable at the end of the day. And I use that word kind of loosely, but when we talk about sustainability today, we typically tie it back to the health of the homeowner, the wealth of the homeowner, and also the planet. Those are kind of the three values that we sort of abide by. And website that we have today and that Dave alluded to is one that serves as a resource for homeowners who want to have a more sustainable home. So I essentially set out to solve my own problem with this website, and today you can find us at buildwithrise.com. We've welcomed just over 2 million people to our site in the last couple of years, and growing. So, yeah.
So, all right, 2 million people. Just say that one more time. You have over 2 million people coming to your site.
2 million people. Yeah, it's a lot of people. So, I mean, it kind of speaks to, I mean, the original problem is, how can you have a home that's more sustainable, and how can you make that seamless without any extra effort, or maybe you think it's more expensive. And so how do we make that transition super easy and not really a decision that the homeowner has to make? But I look at the long-term, vision of the company, and, for us, it's about baking sustainability right into the DNA of any residential construction. And so that in a way, we're almost working ourselves out of a job so that eventually, it's seamless.
Yeah, for sure. Mark, I know you're going to hit on this because you just love this stuff, and we're going to have so much fun. But I just want to say, if you are just joining us, we have Matt Daigle from Rise on. He has over 2 million people going to his website, which I think is amazing. We got Mark Barenaked Wille with us, hosting, as always, on this BS Friday. So, Mark, I know you're just champing at the bit to say something here, so you get to it.
Before you do that, Jack, I want to know where Barenaked comes from.
Oh, you should ask Rodney Hall.
Yeah, so Rodney Hall. So we'll keep people in suspense. Rodney Hall says a bear rubs up against a younger tree, right? And it rubs up against it enough so that all the bark comes off of the tree. And then what happens is the tree will end up getting a sickness, right? Because it doesn't have the bark to protect itself. And then you need to harvest the tree and use it for something. But that's to end the suspense. There's a product that I represent, and my friend invented it, and it's called the Barenaked Tea Stud. And so it's engineered wood that does not have insulation inside of it. And so there's one that does, and there's one that does not. And the one without is Barenaked.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm familiar with Tea Stud. It's a pretty cool product. So awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying. I was just curious. All I mean is Mark Barenaked. So, and I'm sure the listeners at home would love to know that too. So thank you.
Love it, Matt. So your story was the best because, Dave and I have been contractors for a very long time, and certainly involved in the offsite world. But the story that you gave is very similar. So typically when people find, air quotes green and air quotes sustainability, it's at the same point that you and your wife discovered it, right? Now we have a child, and we're hypersensitive to health, and we're hypersensitive to the effect of our buildings because we're in them all the time, right? Sleeping, eating, sleeping, eating, right? The phases of having a baby, and noticing that energy you had, and noticing the experience of the building is so nice to hear. And while I've heard the story 1,000 times, the way you said it came from the heart and came from that passion, and the fact that you've been able to platform off of it for the good of others. Tip of the hat to you. That's just brilliant. Thank you for sharing it. My hair was standing on end listening. So thank you.
Yeah, it really was. And we talk about this all the time as well, Mark. The people that are successful in our business have a passion, and that passion usually comes from a personal place. And I think that's really with a lot of businesses, and why people are successful is just you have this passion that meant something to you for whatever reason. and you felt the need to act on it and help others. And I think that's the two keys, right? You're putting out a whole bunch of information for others, and that's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, thanks. And, I think starting any business, if you're in a position where you can try to solve your own problem, and it's kind of falling in love, I think, with that problem that where you come up with the best solutions, because you're not really tied to the solutions. You're more tied to solving the issue. So, when I talk about Rise and, the great audience that we have today, I mean, I'd love to say we've solved it, but we haven't. We're still on our journey there, and we're going to keep making it easier for homeowners to have a more sustainable home. But I think for us, it was just falling in love with this idea of what is that problem, and then finding solutions and evolving those solutions over time.
Speaking of falling in love, Matt, I would like to reserve your office for some dinner dates, to have some nice romantic dinners in front of your green wall and whatnot. It's a wonderful space. I won't ask about the magic room. That's probably not where we're going here. But hey, it's a beautiful space. It shows who you are. It shows that health and plants and fresh air is important. So, Dave, do we have anyone? Is this just the three of us talking today? Or
no, I mean, we got the comments are already lighting up here. Why don't we bring a couple people in just to get through them so we can kind of keep up a little bit? Because I think if we wait to the end of this one, we'll have an hour-long session. So, as always, George Ryman, good morning from Phoenix, Arizona. Love it, love it, love it. Thanks for joining us again this morning, George. All right. Brian Iverson. Well, you don't know that guy, right? Morning, mates. Brian Iverson is the T-stud guy, and Mark's the one he just hasn't given any clothing to yet.
Okay.
Mark's the bare naked one.
It's funny. Everyone you're posting, Dave, are people that I talked to a few times just yesterday and the day before and the day before.
I know. Well, it's amazing. And, this is part of like what you're doing, Matt. You're never going to solve sustainable and passive housing, because I think it's going to be always evolving and revolving, but you're continuing the conversation and you're making the conversation happen. And that's kind of what we're doing as well. And that's what makes these conversations so much fun, especially now that we have them so interactive.
Right.
So, love it. So here's something. So we know you are going to be on Coffee Talk with Housing Innovation Alliance. Well, guess who's watching? The one, the only, Dennis Steigerwald. Dennis is the president. Exciting life moments all at once. New baby, big home renovation. We had the same experience in April 2017. So I don't know if you've met Dennis or talked to Dennis, but man, he's a great guy and a hard worker.
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah, I was on the phone with him just a week or so ago. Yeah.
For him. Yeah. Perfect. Well, that's great that you're going to be on with his crew. I mean, they play with a lot of really big players in the industry, and I think a lot of really big players in the industry who have a lot to learn from you.
Human beings are funny, right? They're so habitual, and we have Dennis there, and we have Matt share just now, and there's probably 60 to 2,000 people we each know that had a home renovation that finished within a few days of creating life, right? And if we could pay one thing forward to our neighbors, and it's how about you get that whole renovation stuff done before pregnancy? How about that?
Yeah. All right. So Jennifer's in the background shaking her head because we did it twice.
And once with twins.
With twins.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember my wife Mallory was like, she was up on a ladder at like 8 months pregnant, painting walls. Like, I was just like, there's something wrong. Like, I remember clear as day, like, there's something wrong with this picture. Like, it shouldn't be happening, but it's
so you should have taken a picture and posted that on your website. That would
yeah. I don't know if you could see it in the background, but my light just started blinking. I have an OSHA light in the background, and it says only one person can occupy a ladder at a time. So technically, your wife was in violation.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's true, because only one person had 3 points of contact. And actually, I think OSHA says you have to have 4. I don't know how you climb a ladder. So, all right, before we get in trouble by OSHA, we better keep moving here.
The umbilical cord.
Yeah.
OSHA.
All right, well, let's hop in here. We got George Ryman has a pretty long comment. I haven't read it yet. Let's just see what it says. In my experience, I find that most people won't pay a premium even for sustainable options. Initial upfront cost is ultimately the largest market driving factor. But if sustainable materials are comparable or equal in cost and aesthetics, then most people will choose the more responsible option and realize long-term benefits. You know, I'm going to let you jump on that, Matt. And George, I hope I can write as nice as you someday.
Yeah, that was very succinct and well.
Yeah, I'll keep it up there if you want me to keep it up there, but it blocks you. You're going to have to sit up a little higher.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think George is right. I think that, cost has a big factor to play when you talk about having a more sustainable home. I think there are a lot of myths around it being more expensive, but it's up to, companies like Rise and others promoting more sustainable ways of building that it's not all about the sticker price. And essentially being able to see how a product performs over time. What's if you're buying let me back up a bit. I think, if you look at products like LED bulbs or even heat pumps, like mini split heat pumps, which are much a higher ticket item, when you can really show the benefits of switching to a new innovation like that, LED bulbs, just within the span of 3 or 4 years, everybody started adopting them, and they were more expensive than incandescent. They absolutely were. But the immediate savings that people were getting from them and the value they were getting, the longer lifespan that they were getting also was evident, and people could see the immediate value of paying a little bit more. Same thing goes for mini splits. There's a lot of benefits to having a mini split heat pump. And it's one of those things where you're still paying $3,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 for a unit. And but people are seeing immediate benefits in the way of you're getting, for a lot of folks, it's immediate air conditioning in your home. But for most, it's also about saving on your heating costs over, traditional ways of heating your house. So I think, just back to George's comment, I think there are ways to show people that immediate value. And again, it's up to companies and the work that you guys are doing, the work that we're doing, all helps to contribute to that. But solving for that, I think, is also, the key to all of this.
And the underlying factor for me is always what is the price? What is the price and value of health and efficiency and safety? Right? You mentioned the heat pumps. Well, now we don't have gas being combusted in the house, which is reducing the moisture load, which is increasing the oxygen level in the house, right? Imagine that being important. I mean, insurance companies should almost be paying us to do that, right? Because their clients, right, actually would be filing less claims. But this is data we know, right?
Yeah, I think the industry's going there. We're starting to see some of those programs come up. Just the other day here in our small province, I heard of a credit union that was giving better mortgages for folks who were making efficiency upgrades. Mm-hmm. It's these types of things that go a heck of a long way. One of the tools that we actually have on our website is all about incentives and rebates. So you actually just give us your location and we'll sort out which rebates apply to you, and link them to the actual products, and just see how you can save, especially if you're dealing specifically on efficiency upgrades.
So for folks that didn't catch that, if you want to save money, go to Build with Rise, and they will show you how to do it. Imagine that. This is also about saving money, being healthy while saving. Love it, Matt.
And doing it the right way.
How about a segue, my brother?
I love it. So listen, we got a whole lot of more people in here. Let's just do some quick run throughs just to make some call outs, because I think this is going to be 100 people strong by the time we get through. So let me just, Jerry, Top of the morning to you, Jerry. Always a pleasure having you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Rodney Hall, he said it's a true story, believe it or not, about the bare naked tree thing. I don't know. I have to find his other comments after that, because I just said he just, that man knows more than me in a second on everything. Love it. He's a lot of fun.
He's the king of balderdash.
Yeah,
balderdash.
He's the king of unused words that you don't hear very often. All right, we have Jenny Kelleher, I believe is how you say that. George Ryman, do you find the payback or long-term energy savings is convincing enough argument against the upfront cost? So, George, we'll let you answer that in the comments as we run through. Rick Hawkins, good morning, my friend. Here's one of my favorite people in the world, and I truly believe it. Tim Seams from Nishiha. Tim, thank you for logging in, man. I hope all is well.
I have a question. I have a question for Tim. Are we having an Airstream meeting today, or are we having a Treehouse meeting? So you could let us all know in the comments, Tim. Good morning, brother.
Love it. Oh, we got some really interesting people. Wait till we get through. Andrew Sealy, you are interesting, my friend. Morning from Texas. Get this one.
No way.
Mike Holmes. What's up, Mike? Listen.
Make it right. Make it right, Mike.
Make it right, Mike. I know it. I love it. You know, it's Mike's somebody we're going to hopefully have on this show one day. You know, we've had some back and forth with Mike when he was cooped up in Canada in his house, you know. My guess is somebody like Mike has so much energy that he just needs to be out and about, you know, watching what he does. But Mike, thanks so much for commenting and tuning in. It means a lot to us.
Yep.
All right. Scott Skinner, good morning from North Carolina.
How you doing, Scott?
Good. Tim Seams said, George, 100% agree. Tom Reddy. Matt, I noticed you put in an underfloor heating system. Do you think this is a possible method to help improve the air quality? And did your research show it's more or less efficient than forced air? This guy always has great questions. I'm going to the school of Tom Reddy.
Yeah, I actually, that's a great question. I actually didn't do underfloor heating for my house, but I've seen it installed many times. And what we've learned is that radiant heat is the best source of heat. Biologically, as humans, that's what we prefer. And so whether it's in the walls or in the floor, typically like a hydronic system, if I had to build a house from scratch, I think that's probably what I would pick. I have experienced forced air systems. That is the old system that is in my current house. And it's not great. Just based on personal experience, I can tell you that hydronic is a much better system. Also, you can play with the efficiency a bit depending on how you're actually feeding the system as far as producing the heat. So efficiency there will vary depending on what you're using. My in-laws, for example, have a system like this, but they use an electric boiler, which isn't as efficient as maybe other systems, maybe like an air-to-water system that might be a bit more efficient, or ground source would be another one. So I think just generally it's a better source of heat. It's very, very comfortable. Also, a lot of folks who build on a slab end up investing in floor. And I will tell you, you don't need any additional type of flooring. You can just get a slab shined up, and it's still so comfortable especially in those cold winter days. Some people would say that it would be hard on concrete, but the heat just makes it so warm and inviting and comfortable. So.
I can add to that for you, Matt, and I loved how you said it. So in Chicago, we have a number of buildings. They're 100 years old, and they have short basements, right? So what you'll find is a lot of these 2 flats are actually illegal 3 flats, and sometimes illegal 4 flats. So you'll have like 4 gas meters. So the first thing we do is we take out all the gas meters. Bye-bye. We don't need you. So that's gone. And then we rip up the slab, and typically it's a 100-year-old building, right? So the slab is about that thick. It's nothing. And then we dig geothermal wells going down, turn around and put a couple inches of foam down, and then we run our radiant pipe, and we continue the radiant pipe on the first and second floor, and then add a layer of concrete on top of that with sleepers, so we could do hardwood up top. But the basement, just as you said, stays concrete, and add an ERV for continuous airflow throughout. And your electric bill of the building is, a fifth of what it was before, and no gas bill. And it's comfortable everywhere. You zone it, just like you said, with a concrete floor. It's so pretty, right? You want an area rug? Put down an area rug, right? No sweat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't run it in your closet, because then unless you want warm shoes, right? Some people want warm shoes, but
yeah. And don't run it too close to your toilets, because you can cause another issue there as well with the sweating. So listen, if everybody is just joining us, we are on with Matt Daigle from Rise. We have a whole slew of people. We would love it if you could right now hit that like button. Please share this right now. Just go ahead and share it. We want as many people to join us as we can. We're tired of building the same way we've been building for 100 years. It is time to change. It's time to do it right. It's time to bring in younger trades, give them a reason to come into this, and let's do it efficiently and save the planet while we're at it. There's no reason why we can't do it. You agree with that, guys?
do it now. Do it now. Do it right now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm going to put up one more quick comment, and then we got to get moving into our topics today, all right? Who do we have? Shane McNutt. Thank you. Checking in from the Smoky Mountains.
Shane?
You do the front, I do the back. Shane sent us our coffee mugs. Hey, Shane. Got it right here, brother. Love it. Thank you so much. Listen, if you have coffee mugs, you send us coffee mugs. We're going to do promotions and give them away. Rochester Home has sent us coffee mugs. RWC warranty. I'm going to show that one on Saturday, but we're going to promote you for helping us grow. We love it. All right.
Thank you, Shane.
All right. Last comment, and then we're jumping into it. Jerry said, I put underfloor into 3 houses I lived in Ireland and love it, is what I'm thinking he meant to say there. It really is extremely comfortable heating. And we all agree with that. I think so too.
Is that common in Ireland, Jerry, that people need to live in 3 houses? I think one should be enough, right?
All right. I can't wait to see that comment. Keep it clean, Jerry. Keep it clean. All right, here we go. So the first conversation we were going to get into today was my favorite, offsite construction. I don't care whether it's modular, whether it's panelized SIP or concrete, log homes, whatever the case is. It's the smarter way to build. We can't keep doing things the same way we've been doing it. And if there's a stick builder watching, let's have a conversation, because I think it'd be a lot of fun.
You should build sticks in a building. How about that? Take us away, Matt. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm coming at this from a lens of the homeowner perspective and why this might be a good idea for the homeowner. So we're seeing it as a trend at our website. It's actually one of the most talked about topics, probably the #1 topic on our website currently. So one of my teammates, Jenny, who actually commented earlier, she did some digging on social actually, and social mentions of prefabs actually have gone up 44% since last year at this time. So a lot more conversations happening on the prefab side. But just to give you my take on this is that this is prefab or offsite construction, or however you want to manufactured homes essentially. My take on this is that when you look at things like the assembly line and vehicles, we have extremely perfect vehicles today, and it's only getting better. And but the way that we've industrialized that whole process, in the last 100 years is super impressive. But we unfortunately haven't taken the same steps with our homes. And so for the most part, we're still building homes very similarly to how we did 100 years ago. Building codes may have changed, but for the most part, it's still very, very similar. So there's a bit of a movement and shift that we're seeing towards offsite building for a variety of reasons. A lot of it has to do with technology and advancements in technology, automation, and also, we're seeing a lot of companies out of California, Silicon Valley, working on things like, very, very precise CNC machine work, getting homes that are very, very, where humans aren't necessarily always involved, but it involves very, very precise work. And then bringing those to a site where it comes in play for us with regards to sustainability and how we can have more sustainable homes that are prefabs or offsite built. A lot of it comes down to waste. With on-site building, there's so much waste that goes on. Something that is very hard to mitigate. But when you're building in a warehouse and when you have an assembly line, you can mitigate and even erase in some cases a lot of that. So I think that's why it's a really interesting shift that we're seeing. And you'll see, there's a variety of companies out there tackling this problem in different ways. Anything from an entire house being built offsite to modular to shipping containers would be another example of this. Panelized homes, so where you're shipping panels and assembling the panels on site. So there's a variety of ways of tackling this issue, but at the end of the day, what we're seeing is an evolution in how this work is being done. And I mean, when you think of modular homes have been around for a long time, but the process and the way that it is built offsite is evolving, and I think that's where it becomes really, really exciting.
Yeah, it truly is evolving. I mean, that's my background for over 20 years, and I have to tell you, the way some of the old school factories are not changing. They're still doing things the same way, but there are so many new people coming into this market, younger people that are innovating and trying to change the way they do it, bringing in lean manufacturing practices, bringing in technology to automate the entire process. And we're not just talking from the beginning to the end. We're talking all the way out the door through the build on site.
Right.
Because it doesn't stop when it leaves the door. It stops when the home is complete. And I think that's exactly where it's heading. And we're playing catch up with Europe right now.
Innovation, technology, and building science are the three main components in offsite technology. And our buddy Jerry, his comment when he was on your show before, Dave, is one of my all-time favorite comments, and it's precision equals performance, right? And offsite construction is precise, right? My all-time favorite video is what if cars were built like houses? And I'll share the video with you, Matt. It's my all-time favorite video by Corbett Lunsford, and you will not stop laughing. It should almost be a Saturday morning cartoon, because it just turns the world on its head. So what you shared with us today on offsite construction, and you're talking to two of the biggest fans out there, right? Dave and I are over the moon about building science and offsite construction. So I'd love to hear what one of the comments was reinforcing what you said, Matt.
Yeah, let's take oh my goodness. You know what? The one thing I have to say about George Ryman is he puts those long comments in there. It helps me find my place in the list of people that are there.
We got an invitation, Dave. We got an invitation to go to California and have coffee with our buddy Jerry. So let's hit the road, Jack.
I'm on. Is that invitation in here somewhere?
Yeah. It's right before Jennifer's.
There it is. You guys gotta come visit Integra factory. Yeah, we're out there live streaming from Integra. I see it happening. Absolutely. So, Tom Reddy, near and dear to my heart, lean concept drives that waste out. So that is a great comment, and I agree with that 100%. Jennifer, totally agree with Rick Hawkins. Here's the link, Build with Rise. There you go. There's some promos from Jennifer in the background as well. So listen, I got my soapbox right here. Mark knows it's coming. Nobody can tell me otherwise that it's not the better way to build, period, bar none. Just like Jerry says, you're not cutting a piece of wood across the front toe of your boot the same way you're going to cut it in a factory with precision equipment. I 100% agree with that. And it's funny. And I say this all the time. I'm a modular guy. Jerry's a panelized guy. It doesn't matter to me. Both solutions have their place, and they coexist together. And this whole industry is going to change. It's going to go to the next level, and it's going to be because of people like you, Matt, Jerry, and others that are out there willing to put their time, their money on the line to change the thought process and how we do things. And I think that's key. And there's a lot of other people, Tom Reddy, all these people on here. They're all the same mindset. All right.
Awesome.
Put my soapbox back over there.
Oh, I was waiting for you to wind up. I thought halfway through Matt's explanation you were gonna stand on it and say, I gotta stop you right there, Matt. This is my favorite subject. I love off-site construction.
I know, but listen, we're in this almost 40 minutes. We're gonna have to do a speed round on all the other topics. This is so much fun. All right, next topic. Let's get into her. Healthy homes.
All right.
Matt, what is your take on healthy homes? I mean, considering your whole life is built around healthy homes.
Yeah. So again, taking it from the scope of the lens of the homeowner, obviously a super important subject. And I think even more so since, COVID has started, we've actually noticed an uptick in the demand and also conversations around the healthy home. And so this can be anything from the air that you're breathing to the water that you're ingesting. And so we're noticing, obviously, I think people are more and more concerned about their health. People are starting to realize that they're spending more time indoors, even more so lately. And people, I think, actually one really good example is that air purification was a really hot topic, especially in the first few weeks of COVID. We actually heard from a couple of customers that we were talking to, manufacturer customers, who were kind of inundated with folks wanting to buy their air purification systems because of what was happening. So obviously it's a really important topic, and as an example, things like Passive House, very, very stringent building standard that we talk about on Build with Rise, and indoor air quality is one of those things that is kind of synonymous with that, because with having such a tight envelope and amazing mechanical ventilation systems, it's better for all homeowners. Just to give you like a cool example of that, I was in California last year visiting the first 4 passive homes in Southern California, and all homeowners, without me asking them, they all told me the same sort of story. When the LA wildfires were happening, it was like blue smoke outside. It's like the worst air pollution in the entire world, actually, at the time. And these homeowners have a brand new passive house, amazing mechanical ventilation system. So inside their homes, they were actually noticing absolutely no difference in their air quality. They couldn't even smell that there was smoke outside. But the minute they step out their front door, it's like heavy blue smoke. And so it just kind of speaks to, again, just it's one of those components of the home. I could talk about, water filtration all day long as well. I think it's something that people are increasingly looking into, whether it's something as simple as buying a Brita pitcher to a whole home filtration system. I think homeowners are more and more concerned with what they're ingesting and, how they're living at home at the end of the day.
So the thing I learned in the early 2000s is grandma and mom were always right. They said when you walk in the front door, you take your shoes off. And I learned from the Center for Green Technology in the early 2000s that over 90% of the pollutants in our home comes from our feet.
Yep. So
when you take your shoe off and you leave it, hopefully in a vestibule or a closed area there, it changes everything. Not to mention a lot of the shoes are toxic to begin with, so maybe they shouldn't be in our house. But hint. I love it. Air quality in the home and the passive house example. love what you said there, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other things I think we could easily touch on. I mean, even things like finishes, like if flooring, paint, cabinetry, millwork. These are all things at the end of the day. Anytime you're buying something new for the inside of your home, you have to think of what goes into making that product possible and what it's made of. Because even buying a brand new sofa, what's in that sofa? What kind of foam are they using? Is it off-gassing? There's a lot of questions, and we're getting more and more answers on that stuff. But the more educated you can be on it, the better results you're going to get.
So, Matt, my guess is all of this information is somewhere on your website for a layman like me who does not know a lot of this information about low VOC, paints, air quality. I know it better than 90% of the people in the world for sure. But like you said, for the consumer, I mean, you're basically an encyclopedia of healthy living for people to garner information, educate themselves to make educated decisions. Is that accurate?
That's exactly it. I think, for the most part, folks are, and regular average homeowners, or any consumer really, and this isn't even specific to home improvement, but to any industry. I think we've kind of been brought up to think that companies have our best interest at heart. So if it's on the shelves, then there's got to be some safety behind it. It's got to be okay for people. There's got to be no side effects or anything to using that product, or having it in your home, or ingesting it, or whatever it may be. But that's just not the truth. And I think that it's unfortunate in a sense, because we now have we have to now educate people on all of these things, and so you kind of have to take it in your own hands to figure out, okay, is what I'm buying at the grocery store the right thing, or is what I'm putting in my home the right thing? So the responsibility then comes back to the homeowner, to really sort that out for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Love it. All right. Next topic. We're going to do some speed rounds. You guys ready?
Let's go.
Permaculture. I'm very interested in learning more about this. I understand it, but let's talk about it a little bit, Matt. Give us the breakdown on permaculture.
Yeah, I mean, this is a topic. It's kind of a hot topic. Just to keep it really, really short, permaculture is all about mimicking nature in your home landscape, and whether that's like it could be anything. It could be anything from like how you get your energy to water conservation, like water harvesting, to edible landscapes. Walking in after a long day at work and being able to pick berries as you walk into the house, and making your meal using those berries, or maybe it's a vegetable garden or something like that. But it's an extremely hot topic. We actually have a permaculture expert. He's actually originally from California, who's on our writing team. So we actually write a lot about this, but it's a really, really hot topic. Again, Jenny and our team did some digging on this, and we've seen a 30% increase in conversations on social since last year on permaculture.
Yeah, I mean, sustainable living, right? We're talking about vegetables, food, making the home and your environment one.
Yeah, exactly. I actually had Tanner is the guy I was just talking about, and I actually got him to do a permaculture design for our house, which is really interesting. I can actually send you the report, but it really brings a whole new perspective to your home, how it operates, and you get to see the intricacies of how you can tie it back to nature in better ways, and in more ways than one. It could even be things like, how do you make the best use of native plants, or how do you attract birds to your dwelling? These types of things that you might not think of, but it brings a whole new kind of love for your home and being comfortable at home.
Yeah, love it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
DIY.
Nice. This is actually an incredibly hot topic at the moment. 139% increase over last year in social conversations. This I think, and especially right now, I mean, our website is evidence of that. And we've seen a very high uptick of people talking about sustainable home improvement, but DIY in particular, especially with what's happening. People are spending a lot more time at home. And the other thing, and I think this kind of goes in line with the shift that we're seeing in consumer behavior. People used to not really be involved in the home building process or home renovation process. Now and then over time, they got to get involved a little bit more on the aesthetic side. So how things are designed and how things look. But now we're seeing that they're really getting into the guts of the home and how things are brought to put together. And I think that's where DIY plays, in that with spending more time at home, people want to get more involved in it. And I mean, we also have to be cognizant that DIY has its place. You know, there are experts in certain fields for certain reasons. You know, I wouldn't trust myself doing electrical work, but I do like to get my hands dirty when I need to.
Yeah, for sure. What are you seeing, Mark? You doing a lot of DIY projects these days?
I'm putting some plinth blocks and some trim and some baseboard up, and I did a bunch of reclaimed shelving, and then I went kayaking. So I don't know which one I like better.
You got the love of the woodwork and the love of the water. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, you're an early morning guy to begin with. I think you do kayaking or some walking every morning, don't you?
I did kayaking this morning, and the other part is, Dave, I don't really sleep. So I was also on the phone last night until 11:30. I'm a knucklehead. I think most people realize that. So
I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
I'm glad you told me.
I got about 60 geese in front of the lake right now. It's beautiful. But luckily they're crapping on the neighbor's lawn. So all good. All good.
Love it. All right, before we move on, we're going to do just a speed round and catch up on some comments so we can bring people into our conversation. Anthony, good day. What's up, buddy? Big changes in facilities and on the design side with File to Factory. Perfect. Jerry, we're all brothers in arms, improving how homes are built 100%. I think Brian Iverson told you, Mark, that you should wash your feet.
Yeah, Brian was up at 4:30 this morning, messaging me with things. So thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I love it. Talking about healthy homes and air quality, you should have if you didn't watch, you should watch our conversation with Cheryl Seco. Jen put that up. She is somebody you should know, Matt. Definitely a good connection. As you're passionate about homes, Cheryl is passionate about air quality in houses. It's absolutely amazing. And hers comes from a personal story as well with her kids and what they learned. So amazing lady.
Yep.
You know this person at all, Matt?
I've heard of her before.
Hey, Ashley, thank you for tuning in with us. We love those thick walls and tight envelopes.
Thank you, Ashley.
That's another T-shirt.
Yeah.
Thick walls and tight envelopes.
You know how many people might take that the wrong way, though? You got to love it. That's awesome. Perfect. All right. Mark, Anthony, Brian Iverson gave a little fist bump. All right, let's hop into some more stuff here. If I missed anything, we'll go back and try and look as we go through this. Biophilic. Did I spell it right?
Yeah. It's either Biophilic Design or biophilia. So this is a really hot topic because it's new, and I think a lot of people just are intrigued by the word. But essentially, it is all about bringing the outside in. And I know at our house, this year we're actually tackling the exterior. So my DIYs this year are all about retaining walls and decking and all that fun stuff. But for a long time, we felt like, we're outdoors people, but the house that we had didn't really draw us outside. And I think that's where Biophilic Design comes in. And that can be in a variety of ways. It could be from anything from window placement to the views that you get outside. Are you in a concrete jungle, or do you have a nice forest outside or something like that? To the materials that you're also using. So we're seeing a huge surge of innovative products that are coming out now that are more, how should I say, like earth friendly or earth related products. So products like hempcrete, hempwood, sheep's wool. There's tons of new products that are coming out that are less on the very complex side of the equation and more on the back to the earth type products. And I think when it comes to sustainable home improvement, we've kind of typically tied that to radical home improvement or radical sustainable home improvement. So things like earth ships and clay and these types of building methods that are a little bit more extreme and very good, very light on the earth, but maybe not for the average homeowner, right? So, but there is a huge interest in those types of materials as they are becoming more mainstream, more accessible, and I think packaged in a way that makes them easier to be accessed by the average homeowner.
So it's so well put. I think of learning from nature all the time, right? The technology involved in a honeycomb, right? How much we've learned from that in our assemblies. And you mentioned hemp and the many wool, the natural substances that we can use for innovation. And it's so much better than thinking about building a structure and covering it with petroleum, right? Doesn't really make sense that we want to cover our buildings with petroleum. So nature has so much to teach us. We've learned the benefits of wood again and again, and we've applied it to our built environment since the day is new. And I think if anyone has not been a part of a biophilic discussion group where they take you through different plants and animals in our ecosystem and pull that innovation and technology from it, that they should do it, because it will be eye-awakening. It's kind of like your first trip to another country. You're going to explore, and we have endless possibilities right in our back door, and it doesn't have to come from overseas, right? It could come from the heartland. It could come from your province, as you would say, right? So
I love it. That was a great follow-up.
I love that you said province. Thank you.
I think we have states here, right? That's but or maybe we have mistakes here. I'm not sure how you say it, but
I think there's a little bit of everything. All right, so that's the end of the questions. Now, the big question, Matt, the one that we're going to need a real honest answer on. I'm going to put it up there. What was the stupidest thing you've ever seen?
That is a great. I love that question. I could go so many ways with this.
So maybe we should bring Ashley in. I bet she could add to that too, right?
Yeah. I think, well, something that's actually near and dear to the city that we live in, very small city. We're about shy of 100,000 folks. But we have a bit of a heritage or conservation crowd here. And so whenever buildings are torn down or have plans to be torn down, or if there's any sort of new buildings going up, there's often an outcry from the local community as far as making sure that conservation is preserved and there's still heritage and all that kind of stuff. But I'm all for that. And I think for us, when we talk about sustainable home improvement, it's always been about renovating first, and then if you need to build new, then you can build new. But renovation is always and conservation is always first. I think tied to that, whenever we've had to put a building down and then put a new one back up, unfortunately in our city, we haven't taken any further steps on building codes. And so we've put up several new, for the most part, the buildings that are going up these days are all residential, either apartments or condos, and the way that they're going up, it's a pretty, typical stick build, and it's a little bit sad because you end up driving by them, 5 years later, and the roof's falling off, or the siding's coming off, or you're seeing all this very, very shoddy work. So just to tie it back to heritage and conservation and all that, the buildings that we tore down, they're hundreds, if not almost 200 years old, and they stood the test of time. But now we're putting up a new building to replace it that after 5 years is already falling apart. And in a lot of ways, that's where we have failed, where we're building fast and cheap, and we're not building for the future. And so, I mean, I could go through, multiple scenarios of different buildings or houses that I've seen that have done this. But I think building codes are a fantastic answer to a lot of what we're talking about today. What if we had passive house as a minimum building code? What would that look like? Right. So there's lots of, arguments for and against that. But at the end of the day, having better building codes is only going to benefit us in the long run. And people think about cost and price and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, do we want to have a building that's going to last a few years and it's going to just benefit the landlord of that building? Or is it going to be around for hundreds of years and something that we can then preserve 100 years from now and say, we conserved that building, we kept it up to date, and now it's still around and we're preserving that history. So
a renovation company I had partners with in the late 90s, our tagline was restoring the past, preserving the future. And you mentioned one of my favorite words, and that's heritage. And so that does bump into these historic buildings, the durable structures, the beauty of the craftsmen and the artisans that were involved. And passive house is obviously a passion of mine. And in order to get to a world of carbon free, we need to include in our building codes the embodied energy of existing buildings. So once you do that, you will stop you will stop that process, and we will be able to destroy the word demolition, right? That's what we need to destroy. I embrace deconstruction if it's done properly, but without a conversation on carbon-free and embodied energy, you're not allowed to demolish that building. And if you think you are, then bring it, because we're not moving, right? We are accelerators.
Awesome.
Yeah. Outstanding. All right. That's a whole lot to chew on, fellas. I don't know.
Heritage. That's the word of the day, Matt. Heritage. Love it.
So here's the deal, everyone. We are live with Matt Daigle, CEO, founder of Rise, Mark Bare Naked Wille, Mark the Bare Naked Wille, and you can spell Bare B-A-R-E or B-E-A-R depending on what Rodney has to say. And myself, Dave Cooper. We're going to start going through some questions. I'm going to do some call outs here as far as some likes that we received, but they're a little less shy. They don't like to write anything in the comments. But please like, share, and follow Matt, Mark, myself. We're trying to grow this industry, trying to grow the knowledge. Anytime you can help us share the message, and we hope we're entertaining you a little bit as well. Part of it's education, part of it's entertainment, and the other part is we're just here to have a really good damn time. I think damn good time.
A damn good time. We need to put Jenny's comment. Jenny from Rise. She had a comment on there seconding what we said, and I think people need to see that comment. Let
me go up. Brilliant. Got it. This one here. We need to eliminate demolition as an option. Love it.
Destroy demolition. That's the new title for your next article, Jenny.
Destroy demolition. Love it. Right. And heritage. Can't forget heritage.
We're giving her content for next week's post.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. That makes you a contributor, I think they call it in the editorial world.
All that.
All right, some quick shout outs that liked, loved, gave us thumbs up. Jerry McCullough, Mika Soloway. If I said that right, did I say that? Mika Soloway? Solway. Osama Alabi, thank you for joining. As we know, Jerry, Shane, Anthony Goudet, Mike Holmes. Still surprised Mike was on here. That's awesome. How much fun is that? We got Ashley Abernathy, Jennifer, Tom Reddy, Andrew Sealy, and George Ryman, all leaving some comments and likes. And Mark, I have to tell you, in the live stream, and Matt, because we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and here on LinkedIn. Yeah. I mean, each place has a whole bunch going on. I need a command center.
Yeah.
And I need a living green wall behind me in a magic room. So we're coming to Canada. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
We got to get you set up in the Millennium Falcon, right? Because you got Jennifer back there. She's manning the controls, and you're manning the controls. We need the Millennium Falcon to take you away and get you to all these places.
We're gonna try and set up multiple cameras in here so we can pan to other areas. Ought to be fun. We were talking about just taking over NASA's old space.
Oh
yeah, it ought to put it to good use, and we could learn because they're very good about radiant energy and air sealing, right?
Right. I love it. All right, let's walk our way through what we have left here.
We have a comment from Andrew, which I love. Andrew Keyser.
I'm looking right now. I want to put it up there and give him credit where credit's due.
A lot of folks from the Rise team. I'm loving it. It's great.
What's that? A lot of people from Rise?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not seeing. You see the post? It's not showing up in my feed, Mark. Tell us what it is.
It's right after Jennifer's, and it says it doesn't make sense that we would want to cover our buildings with petroleum.
He must have his LinkedIn name blocked so it doesn't show up. At least it's not showing up on the stream.
I think he likes me better than you because it shows up for me, Dave. So Andrew, you owe Dave a coffee cup for not having your picture on the screen. So let the punishment fit the crime.
There you go. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, Brian Tista, that will take all day to answer. I think he was getting back to some of the other comments. All right. Jennifer, build for the future. Did we do the one with Jenny? We did that one. Here's a new one. Fred Grunwald. Just a quick shout to Mark. Fred, thanks for joining us today.
So Fred, you didn't mention Dave. You also owe a coffee cup to Dave.
Just hit me up in messages. I'll send you the link. I'll send you the address. Send your coffee mugs. We are, right? It's a great way to get your name on the show. It's a lot of fun to promote. And we are going to support everybody that supports us. Matt, we always like to tell everybody, and Mark, I think now's a good time. Dunn Brothers Coffee. I'm still waiting for my Dunn Brothers coffee mug. That's a nice mug too.
Unfortunately, not to go to the tragedies of the week, but a lot of them got boarded up and they're not able to serve coffee. So to all those people at home not able to serve their friends and families, my heart goes out to you.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And anything we can do to help, let us know. We're always willing to jump in. But Matt, just so you know and everybody else knows, being on this show is an invite only. It's not a paid for event. That's how we keep it real. We keep the conversation real. Nobody can say that we're working for the man somewhere and spouting something we don't believe in. So I think that's or the woman, working for the man or the woman, I should say, because we want to keep it real, spread the knowledge, drive it home.
We're not working for the man or the woman. We're working for the next generation of children.
That's right. That's right. All right. Do we got anything else out here? Let me see. Anybody have any last minute comments or questions? I don't know how many are here, Matt, just so you know, but during the course of this hour, we've gone through a whole lot of stuff. Jennifer put that last one up. Matt.
Nice.
Love it for having you here. Thank you so much for coming on our show with Mark. Mark, I know you have words of wisdom. I can tell every time he leans forward, and that's my cue. I'm like, yeah, Dave, you better shut up. Mark got something to say.
So I had a nice time talking to Matt a few days this week as all three of us were speaking. And what you're doing could be replicated. You mentioned in the beginning of, by design, you'll be able to go away because there'll be a market transformation. And I believe it needs to be replicated. You're kind of setting the gold standard of awareness, and the rest of North America should follow suit with that. And your name itself, right, is powerful. Words are powerful, and it brings it. It just brings me to joy that we're able to have this subject on a Friday and end the week with this kind of impact of health in our environment and transformation in how we build and live. So I'm just thrilled to share this conversation with the friends and family that we have. And I want to do it again. I don't think we even scratched the surface. So I would like to have a standing invitation that you come back, Matt.
I appreciate that. I love it. Thank you so much for the kind words. It's been a blast. It's my first time doing a live version of this, so it's a blast. I love the people showing up, and you guys are a blast. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, my sentiments as well. Mark couldn't have said it better. And keep doing what you do, and let us know when you have things happening. We'd love to keep the message going for you and Rise and all the great people that work with you. I think what you're doing is right in line with what we love and believe in. Cool, man. We could almost have a quarterly update with Matt, right?
I think the quarterly update is good. I know you have an event with Housing Innovation Alliance coming up.
Hey, let's put that up there, right? So that's another near and dear organization that's really trying to change some things that we're doing and move things forward. Let me just put your website up there real quick, and then I'm going to go grab that as well.
And Matt, we would love if our different presenters and guests could connect with your organization, and if you guys and your followers could connect with them, because we all have the same agenda, right? Happy, healthy lives. So for people to connect, share, tag, like. And if you don't worry, Dave and I will share and tag for you. So is there a quote or something that you have, Matt, that kind of something you look to for inspiration or to challenge the marketplace?
Yeah. So last year, I got to go to California a few times, and one of those times was for a leadership summit for B corporations. So we're a certified B Corp, and the CEO of a company called Patagonia. They do outdoor gear. Fantastic company, amazing leadership. So this quote actually comes from Rose Marcario, who I was able to see give a speech, but she did it. Her quote is, "Caring for our planet is not in conflict with running a successful business." And I love that quote. I love the Patagonia story, and it's a company that I personally look up to. It's one of the reasons that we are a certified B Corp today. But it's just speaks so true to our values and the way that we look at business, and that's what I got.
I love it.
After the show, maybe just add the comments section to the LinkedIn so that everyone knows that quote came from you. And I would love it if other companies are inspired by the work that Patagonia does for our ecosystem and the trees they plant and the trees they stop from being taken down. Much respect to that organization.
Yeah, and they reuse reclaimed lumber. My brother's done a lot of stores for him with the reclaimed lumber that he's been salvaging, and they come to him to help him build out those stores, Salvage Pittsburgh. So one last comment, I just want to put it up there, and then we're going to take our way out. Larissa Maneja, I'm assuming is how you say it. That's a long one. What an entertaining chat with you guys. It's being new to real estate investing. I've been so intrigued by going green into 2 small steps towards energy efficiency in the home and how Biophilic Design, LOL, especially with the increase of the WFH life. Glad I was able to find you guys. Look forward to your other shows. Larissa, this is what it's all about. It's about bringing education in, whether you're veterans like Matt, Mark, myself, or you're new to this. Every question's a great question. Every question's going to spawn some new idea. And I think that's what it's about. And you just kind of, I think you made us all feel good with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Larissa. And I hope you could join Dave tomorrow, Larissa, because he's going to recap the week over coffee, and then he's going to give you a taste of next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Dave. Sunday's reserved for family and rest, and editing and posting.
Yeah, there is a lot of that. So, Matt, you stay with us. We'll come back to you in a minute. But hey, everybody, thanks a lot. This was an episode of BS Fridays with host Mark Bare Naked Willie, Dave Cooper, and our special guest, Matt Daigle, Build with Rise. Gentlemen, as always, 2 thumbs up. Love you guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to like and share.